So in this video, we'll be looking at something called bone constraints. So normally when you want to bend your fingers or when you want to curl them, you don't really bend them knuckle by knuckle. And so here in Blender, if you want to curl the fingers, you do have to do it knuckle by knuckle, which is weird and it's time consuming. So instead what we'll do is we'll create something called a bone constraint that will take the rotation of the very first index_1. So if I rotate it by 90 degrees, then index_2 and number 3 will also rotate by 90 degrees. So I actually get a full curl with moving just one bone instead of having to animate knuckle by knuckle. So how do we do this? Well, select index_2, then go to bone constraints, and then add a copy rotation constraint here. The target will be the armature. And now for the bone, well, I want index_2 to copy the rotation of index_1. So the bone will be index_1 because that's where I'm pulling the data from. So I'm pulling the rotation information from index_1. Then down here where it says mix, I have to say I want to add. So because I want to add the rotation of index_1 to my index_2, so I have to select add, and then for the target and the owner, these will be local space for both. So now let's see what this would look like. So here I'm going to bend index_1, and you can see that index_2 is also being bent. And if you don't see the difference, I'll also bend the middle finger, which doesn't have any bone constraints. So I'm bending middle_1, 90 degrees as well. And so now hopefully you can see that the index finger, which has the bone constraint, there's something more happening than like the middle finger, which has no constraints. And so now all we have to do is include the same constraint for index_3 to also copy the rotation of the previous bone. So I'll click on index_3, go back to bone constraints, add a constraint, rotation, copy rotation, select armature, then select index_2 because now I want to copy the rotation of the previous one, and mix mode is add. And make sure that the target and the source also say local space, and we should be good. So test it out, see if when you rotate index_1, if everything curls, and it does. Now you have to do this for all of the other 5 fingers. It is going to be the exact same thing, except instead of always choosing index_1 as your bone, make sure you select, for the middle finger, middle_1, for ring finger, ring_1, and so on. So now you should have a hand that when you rotate the first bone, all of the fingers rotate as well. So you can make a fist or you can curl the fingers. Now this doesn't mean that you can't go back and uncurl a finger. So if you do want to rotate just one knuckle, sure, you will rotate the full finger, then select one of the bones, and you can uncurl them. So yeah, you made more work for yourself there, but most of the time when you're animating a hand, you do actually want to curl the fingers. So yeah, that's it for this video. In the next one, I'll show you how to actually keyframe the armatures so you can make your animations.